Hi children, today in this class we are going to learn about what is a science. What is a science? The word science is very familiar to us. In our daily life, we had this word in our daily life in the classroom and as well as outside also. In the classroom, science teacher, science subject, science lab, science experiment and like that. And outside also, so and so person received a Nobel Prize for their discoveries in science. So, whatever it may be, it is very useful and beneficial thing to the mankind. It is very helpful to the human society for the development of human society. Okay. So, that's why we all are learning science from our childhood onwards, from class 1 onwards. So, let us see what is a science. The word science comes from the Latin word scientia. Again, the word science comes from the Latin word scientia. What is a scientia? Scientia means knowledge. Scientia means knowledge. Okay. Science is a concerted human effort. There are some curious minds in the world. They are always thinking about discoveries and innovations. They are always working on the experiments. So, that's why it is a concerted human effort. By the human effort, we can develop this science. Now we have a lot of facilities with science. Thousands of kilometers we can travel in a very less span of time. We have a good infrastructure and good engineering skills. So, with the engineering, we have some technology and lot of machineries we have. With the help of machineries, we can do works within a less span of time. And we have a good medical care. Compared with olden days, now we have a good medical care. Okay. This all because of science. We have these all facilities because of the science. Okay. So, next, science is a organized study. Organized means systematized. There is a process in the science. The scientists are conducting experiments. Scientists are discovering with a clear purpose and process. So, that's why we can say that science is a organized study. And science is a tool of searching truths. There is a lot of things behind the nature. There is a lot of wonders behind the nature. With the help of science, by the science, we can discover them. So, that's why science is the only way to discover the things behind the nature. So, we know that science is only the way to find the things behind the nature. So, that's why we all are learning science from our childhood onwards. Okay. When you are going to higher classes, you will take up one branch of science. Engineering, medicine, physics, chemistry and many of the other branches also you will take up when you are going to higher classes. Okay. In science, there is a fundamental step to conduct or to discover anything. So, that is questioning. Questioning is the primary and fundamental step in science. Okay. Questioning. So, questioning, this is the primary and fundamental step in science. When we are observing nature, it seems to be a wonder. Our world, it seems to be a beautiful thing. So when we observe nature, many of the doubts are sprouted in our minds. Many of the doubts. While we observing grass, who sow the seeds on the ground? And while we observing trees, why the leaves are fall down from the tree when they are turned into yellow? So do you know, children, why the leaves are fall down from the tree after turning into yellow? Because there is a pigment, that is chlorophyll. The chlorophyll is a pigment which is helps to the plant and it gives to the support to the plant. After the tree lost their chlorophyll, the trees lost the leaves. So that's why leaves are fall down from the tree. Okay. So like one more question. Why can't we see the stars in a daytime? Why can't we see the stars in a daytime? Do you know, children, why can't we see the stars in a daytime? Because the sun rises is spreading around the atmosphere. The dim light of the stars cannot travel through them and cannot unable to reach the earth. That's why we are unable to see the stars in a daytime. And one more question. How does an ant can find the sweets although if we kept in a tin? How does the ants find the sweets although if we kept in a tin? So again, there is an answer. Do you know why? Because the ants have a better and far sense than the humans. So that's why they can find the sweets wherever you kept. Although you kept in a tin also, they can find, because they have a far better sense. So like, and one more question. Why does the pickles do not get spoiled but sambar gets spoiled? So do you know why? Pickles have a large amount of salts. So in the salts there is a bacteria helps to the pickles without spoiling the pickles. But this is not happened in sambar. In the sambar, the amount of salts are very high. Okay, the amounts of salts are very high. Bacteria, there is a bacteria in the salts. This bacteria helps to the pickles to without spoiling. But this bacteria is not having in sambar. So that's why pickles do not spoil but sambar get spoiled. Okay, children. So that's why I have to say that questioning is the primary and fundamental step. So not all the minds are having curiosity, but some students, some people have a very curious to find and to innovate and to discover the things behind the nature. So about this questioning, I will tell you a story of a Newton. You know, children, now we have a Newton laws. How the Newton laws are formed by the Newton? By the questioning only. So I will tell you a story of Newton laws. One day Newton sat under a tree. So that time an apple fall down from the tree to the ground. So immediately this is observed by the Newton. Immediately there is some questions sprouted and raised in his mind. Why the apple is come down from the tree to the earth? Why don't the apple go up? So this is the primary and fundamental question. This question is raised in his mind. So this is the result of this question. Now we have a Newton laws. So that's why, children, I have to say that questioning is very important in science. How it is happening, how it is comes, how it is possible. These questions are very important in science. Okay children, now why science? Why science? Why should we learn science? We know that there is a lot of myths in our surroundings. The people on the earth is believed some myths. To avoid and to disprove these myths, we need to learn science. With the science, we can avoid and we can disprove these myths. So, why should we learn science? To avoid and to disprove myths, to overcome myths, and for the development to the development of science, to the development of human society, and to develop oldness, to develop and disprove oldness, to disprove oldness. We know that people on the earth strongly believed geocentric theory. All the people on the earth is strongly believed geocentric theory. What is the geocentric theory? All the planets are revolve around the earth. All the planets are revolve around the earth. So after Copernicus proved that no, it is the geocentric theory is absolutely wrong. The heliocentric theory, he proved the heliocentric theory. In the heliocentric theory, Copernicus proved that all the planets are revolve around the sun. This is now, it is right. So the people on the earth after recognized the heliocentric theory. So that is why science is helps to the disprove and to develop oldness. Okay children, now let us see change in science. Change in science. There is a chance to modify the science. There is a chance to develop the science. Okay, in before we have a steam engines. The trains are working by the steam, but now we have a electrical trains. The thousands of kilometers we can travel in a less span of time by the railways, and as well as airlines also. In everywhere in engineering technology is developed with the help of science. So that's why I have to say that there is a change in science. In the words of great scientist Karl Popper, what he said, science is a history of corrected mistakes. Science is a history of corrected mistake. It means we can correct the science. In the words of Karl Popper, he said that science is a history of corrected mistakes. So there is a chance to correct the science. There is a chance to develop the science. Okay children, and again one more great scientist, Einstein. In the words of Einstein, what he said, The fellow Einstein always retracts the what he write before year. The fellow Einstein always retracts what the year before, what he wrote the year before. It means always Einstein also, the great scientist Einstein also is changed and he corrected his mistakes, what he done before year. So that's why I have to say that there is a chance to change in science. Okay. I have already told you that science is a organized study. Organized means systematized. There is a process in science. This process is called scientific method. Scientific method. Scientific method. So I have to give you a define of scientific method. What is a scientific method? The way that the followed by the scientists is called a scientific method. There is a way, the way that the followed by the scientists is called a scientific method. So scientists are followed a clear particular process and method to conduct experiment. So the way this process is called scientific method. In scientific method there are 5 steps. There are 5 steps in scientific method. That is, the first step is observe and asking questions. Observe and asking questions. Second step is form hypothesis. Form hypothesis. And third step is plan an experiment. Plan an experiment. And fourth step is conduct an experiment. Conduct an experiment. And fifth step is draw conclusions. Draw conclusions. Once again, I will repeat the scientific method steps. Step 1, observe and asking questions. And step 2, form hypothesis. And step 3, plan an experiment. And step 4, conduct an experiment. And step 5, draw conclusions. So scientists are followed these steps to conduct any experiment. So let us see what is observe and asking questions. So now let us conduct a small experiment by following these steps. Okay. In this experiment, we want to know about the best soil. Which soil is best to sprout bean seeds? So this is called asking questions. Which soil is best for the sprouting bean seed? So for this we need to test different soils. Here we have to take clay, potty and sandy. Clay soil, potty soil and sandy soil. In this experiment I have to take these 3 type of soils to test which soil is better to sprouting bean seed. Okay na? So this is the asking questions. Now hypothesis, form hypothesis. Here hypothesis means expected answer. By this experiment what result maybe comes by this experiment. So expecting answer is called hypothesis. So here I have to expect hypothesis. My hypothesis is potty soil. Maybe the potty soil is best for sprouting bean seed. Okay. So this is called hypothesis. Next, plan an experiment. Plan for a experiment. So how to plan for an experiment? So how to the process, what materials are required, and the process is called planning. Here we need to control variables. variables. So what are variables? The result, the factors which are showing effect on the result is called variables. In this experiment, what are variables? variables, variables. So in this experiment, water and sunlight, water and sunlight are the variables. So we need to control the variables. Ante here means we need to produce the same amount of water and same amount of sunlight to the these three parts. So same amount of water and same amount of sunlight we need to produce in these three parts. So this is plan an experiment. Next, conduct an experiment. In this step we need to measure the plant height for every 3 days. For example, this is clay soil pot and this is potty soil pot and this is sandy soil pot. Okay, so we need to measure the height of the plant. For example, for every 3 days we need to measure the height of the plant up to 21 days. Okay children, after 21 days we will measure the plant height also. So after 21 days, for example, the clay soil, in the clay soil and potty soil and sandy soil. So let us see which soil is better to sprout bean seed. So here in this picture we can clearly observe that clay soil, in clay soil is the bean seed is sprouting best in clay soil. So what we here observe, our hypothesis is wrong. So our hypothesis is maybe the potty soil is better to sprout bean seed. But in this experiment, the bean plant is sprouting best in clay soil. So now we need to draw conclusions. So what are the conclusions? So clay soil is better to sprout bean seed. Why not the potty soil and sandy soil is not better to sprout bean seeds? So this is further investigation. What are the reasons? The clay soil is better and remaining two sandy and potty soils are not better to sprout bean seed. So in this further investigations, maybe the factors, the nutrients in the soil is maybe their nutrients are showing effect on these soils. So in this way, by the scientific method we are conducting experiment. I hope you understand children what is a science and what is the importance of science. Okay, so we will continue in next class. Thank you.